joined by Thandi Modise, Minister of Defence and Military Veterans. Good evening to you.
Good evening to you.
We're standing on the infamous red carpet, and I heard you say a little bit earlier on you hate it. Why is that?
It's not how I define myself. I think all of us define ourselves differently. I come from a background of servants, people who serve. I joined the liberation struggle to serve my people, not to walk on the red carpet. So, me and it.
Do you express it? I mean, I'm sure there are many others who feel the same way about the red carpet, that it's not probably appropriate.
Well, I suppose there are people who like it, and there are some people who feel good working on it. But they know I always try to walk next to it.
Obviously, I'm going to watch you. And what are you expecting from the SONA address this evening? What is it that you'd like to hear?
Well, I want a message of hope to South Africa. I want a message that says to South Africans, must come down. We are finding solutions, and indeed we are. We've spent weeks poring over this and that solutions to cure the energy crisis. We need to do that because when it affects the clinics and schools and water in the household, small businesses, we are not happy. So when our economy goes down, it is a real crisis. So I'm hoping that the President will give a message and that he will kick butt so that South Africans can sleep better in their beds.
And when it comes to cabinet reshuffle, what are you hearing?
I'm not hearing anything. I don't want to hear anything. I think the head of the government has the right to make the changes he needs to do. If he says to me tomorrow, go, I go.
Okay.
I'm serving.
All right. And tell me, we've had several events, the DRC shooting, our relations with Russia at the moment. Where do you see that going forward after this address? What's going to change?
We have a multiplicity, double it by I don't know how many thousands of relations with many nations. We are not going to change how we relate to one partner because they are fighting with the other. As a matter of fact, we are always, right from the onset, been a country that says, please stop it, go sit, go talk. We have not closed the door on the talks with the Ukraine. We've not closed the door with the talks with Russia. We have business partnerships, the defense especially. We have serious relations with Russia. So we're taking it. We understand where other people are coming from. But we are also a sovereign state that must be allowed to think and to lead in the best interest of its own people, its own region, and its own continent.
Thank you very much for talking to us. I hope you get to hear what you would like to hear this evening.
No, thank you very much.
And we've seen quite a few people. Oh, we've got Steve Swart from the SEDB. Very good.
Well?
Very good to see you.
Thanks for being here.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So we are standing. Okay. Oh, yeah. We've got to get people onto that. We're calling it now the infamous red carpet. How do you feel about it?
Well, this is my 28th opening of Parliament, and it's sad that it's not up there where Parliament is sitting, but we are grateful that we are able to have a parliamentary sitting here, and we all are looking forward to what the President has to say. What solutions is he going to give to load shedding, to our economy, to all the issues that we're facing? And I really hope that the presiding officers will deal very firmly if there are any disruptions. It's absolutely deplorable when elected representatives do not conduct themselves in a way that is expected of them. There are more than enough avenues for them to express their views, but to disrupt Parliament where the whole world is watching, South Africans are watching, and they want to hear solutions. We are tired of all the talk, we're tired of disruptions, and us as public representatives need to step up to the plate and say, let's find solutions.
I did try and find out from the Parliament Secretary what will be done if there is any sort of disruption, whether there will be a physical removal, but I wasn't given any answers.
Well, it will be according to the rules. They'll be warned, people will be warned, they'll be told to leave the house. If they don't leave the house, they will be physically removed, and that's regrettable. If you want to make a point, sure, the rules are there, make your point, and then leave the house when you're instructed to leave. Why must we be forced to use physical, and then people complain about being hurt? I just find this totally unacceptable, and I really am trusting that the EFF will conduct themselves in a manner that is expected of elected representatives who have been paid taxpayers' money to be here. And I don't think their constituency or the broader South Africans want to see this. In fact, I'm sure South Africans want to hear a message of hope tonight. Yes, we've got a lot of challenges, but let's hear some solutions to the load shedding.
Okay.
That's what we want to see.
Good to talk to you.
Thank
we'll
you
watch
so
you
much,
saunter
Jen.
your way off
Thank you so
on
much.
the carpet. Now we're joined by Deputy State Security Minister Zizi Kodwa. Very good to have you with us.
Wonderful.
Beautiful shirt,
Thank you.
but understated.
And it reminded me of my Diva days.
Ah, yes.
Thank you.
Yes. What are you expecting this evening?
Well, I think the President would appreciate the difficulties that the country is going through at the moment, if you like, the state of the nation. The issues that really bother many South Africans, the issues around energy crisis, major problems of unemployment among young people, the issues about high cost of living. Certainly the President will have to respond to that. I have no doubt in my mind that the President, the address must inspire hope, the address must give practical solutions. And I have no doubt in my mind that the President dare not fail South Africans in their expectations.
I mean,
We
there's
live
a
in very
there's a difference this year, isn't it? I mean, you can the feeling of lack of hope is palpable. People feel that there's nowhere to go. I mean, they've been crippled by load shedding. They've been crippled by broken promises. Do you think the President has got enough support to actually do what he wants to do this time?
I think we must appreciate the anxiety among South Africans, that the difficulties we've gone through, the unprecedented. But look, we're crossing the river, touching the stones. Some of the situations we face is uncharted waters. We never experienced COVID. We never experienced the unprecedented levels of load shedding. In all the difficulties we can talk about, but it doesn't help to say whose fault it is. Blame game is over. We need to come with practical solutions. And I'm hopeful.
Yeah, but you say blame game is over, but you hear, the President saying that business must stop whinging and sort of blaming it on everybody else. Maybe the solution starts with saying, okay, we got this wrong. Let's make it right and let's do it properly. Let's choose the best people for the job.
There's no doubt that we need the best men. We've got the sharpest knives in the drawer. And I think we must move from the point where we must just deploy anybody to do anything. If you talk about engineering, for example, we've got the top engineers. If you talk economists, we've got the top economists. So we've got to move away from where we just on the basis of who's available. And I think we're very clear as a governing party, and I think the President has made that point very clear. For example, in fixing the ESCOM, we need some of the best engineers, some of the best generations, experts to help us to move out of the problem that we've experienced in terms of our generations.
Because if we don't get this right, I mean, security obviously becomes an issue in this country. We've got rising unemployment, we've got a horrific youth unemployment, the highest in the world, and all of these have security ramifications. We've seen a dramatic increase in home invasions, for example, what we're seeing on farms. It's not going to get any better until we tackle this issue.
Energy security is the national security. All these issues we're talking about are phenomenons that can constitute social instability. It's important, therefore, if you address elements of national security, you must address these issues, including unemployment, because failure to address unemployment is a ticking bomb for social instability.
All right. How do you feel about the red carpet, by the way? Do you think it's appropriate in this climate in South Africa that people come and show their wares?
I don't see it as a red carpet. I see it as a path to the entrance. Thank you.
And I shall let you go. Very good to talk to you. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to be talking to the Northern Cape Premier, Zamini Saul.
All right.
Dutton. Very good.
I'm good.
Welcome to Cape Town.
Okay.
Yeah. What are you expecting from this evening's address?
More of practical measures. I think at the policy front, we've reached a point of exhaustion. What should be happening now is practical and tangible measures on implementation of all the commitments.
I mean, we hear that time and time again that something needs to be done. Do we have the right people in place to get it done?
I think we do, and the rallying call for this year is decisive action to improve the quality of lives of our people. So one hopes that decisive action that call for decisive action will basically find dominance in the State of the Nation address today.
How important is tonight's speech when it comes to unity for the country, unity for the party?
It's very much important. This is the penultimate State of the Nation address, which is one before the last. So it is very much important that when the President presents the State of the Nation address, it should invigorate and reinforce a sense of hope in the people of this country. And also it should be a speech that has got capability to bring and rally people around the vision that the President has expressed.
But also, we've got to tackle things from the ground level. I mean, if you talk, in your province where you're from, the pressing, the pressing issues that we've got there that we see in so many other provinces when it comes to schooling and pit latrines, and we've just been hearing about how children are struggling to read. What needs to be done in order to get down to the grassroots level to change? Because if we don't tackle it there,
it's a mixed bag. The reality of the matter is massive amount of work was done to improve the quality of public education, even in my province. And we are investing billions in ensuring that we improve the quality of public education. There's also some areas of weaknesses, and we tend to emphasize those areas of weaknesses. And with those areas of weaknesses that have been identified, there's practical measures on how to improve on that front. For an example, what the President announced last year was that we have to look at a different model of funding, and that should be experimented in the Northern Cape and the Western Cape. Almost each and every month in my province, there was a sort of a new school, state-of-the-art school, where we are going to ensure that our children get much better quality public education.
and how do we stop the corruption? In order, listen, we'll never stop the corruption in this country, sadly.
The only way of stopping the corruption is to ensure that we strengthen the capacity of law enforcement agencies. More funding must go into that front, and we are happy in the Northern Cape because for the first time the SIU have got provincial offices there, and they are very busy. They are arresting people, they are seizing assets and all of them. That's the only way that we can ensure that we strengthen our fight against corruption. Those who embark on corrupt measures, they should know that there should be consequences. As long as they know, I'm going to embark on corrupt measures and there will be consequences, that's enough. And
Excellent.
consequences should really be realized.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy your evening. Let's bring in Patricia de Lille, Public Works Minister. It's been a long time since I last spoke to you.
How are you doing?
Very good. How are you
I'm
doing?
doing fine.
What are you expecting this evening?
Well, the only thing I'm expecting is implementation, more implementation, and we need to drive some urgency because we are testing the patience of our people. And for me, that is critical.
But how's that going to happen with the people that we have?
It will only happen through increased accountability and holding people accountable for targets. For all the commitments that we are making, to make sure that there's monitoring, but it can be done. I think we just need to get urgency, Jane. That's my main concern.
But I mean, how do you create something that just has never been there?
Eh?
How do you create something that's just never been there? I mean, it's hardly as though we're getting a whole broth of or a whole string of new faces.
I've tried and tested it in my department, and it is possible.
Yeah.
It is possible. We need, especially, we can't do everything all the time, but what we can do is to prioritize and implement those things, low-hanging fruit, that people can feel. You know, people are feeling very despondent. And if they see us by illustration that we're implementing, I'm sure, it will give people some hope.
And you always seem to be safe whenever there's kind of any sort of shuffling happening. But what are you hearing as far as cabinet shuffles are concerned?
I don't know. That's the prerogative of the
position?
president. I mean, I was asked to serve. I serve my country in any capacity. I've thoroughly enjoyed the past 3 years at national level. I was thrown to the deep end, but that's me. I like challenges. So.
And what's the feeling as far as Phala is concerned? Where to from here? The investigations into him are not over. How's it possible to to lead when you've got that hanging over your head? How should that be resolved?
You see, I know that people, patience is running out. But there are several state institutions. I'm a person for due process. Because, like, I was in trouble when I was a mayor of the city of Cape Town. And I had to go through due process until a court found that there was nothing. And I won every court case. And it took me 2 years. So I think we must not get the institutions of government that sees with that matter. SARS, the Reserve Bank, the NPA, we need some information now to say what, at least a time frame.
We've just seen Paul Mashatile walk past. Is he going to be your next deputy?
Well, you know, that's all decided by the President, Jane. You look lovely too.
Well, enjoy your evening and thank you very much for talking to us. So as I was saying, we've just seen Paul Mashatile walk by. He is, he zooted through, I must say, and everyone's trying to catch him. But we missed him there, so it'll be interesting to hear how that plays out and if David Mabuza's going to be able to make his way here. Let's just see if we can hold off Alan Winde. He's wearing black, as you might see over there, and we are hearing that the DA is only going to be wearing black today. They're protesting against the opulence that we find here. We spoke to John Steenhuisen a little bit earlier on, and he was saying to us that he finds it pretty repugnant, that's my word, the red carpet and the sort of opulence that we see here. As he said, we are not the Oscars, and it's probably not the right time to do that. But it's been pretty busy on the red carpet. Let me tell you who has gone through. We spoke a little earlier to Tande Modise. We saw Aaron Matsaleri, Home Affairs. Gwede Mantashe walked through. He was looking very colourful. We saw the Human Settlements Minister, Momoloke Kubai, and the Acting Public Protector, Koleko Kalaka, and Mantla Mandela, who's already gone inside. He was wearing a very colourful top, but he said it's not a new top, and he's used South African manufacturers to look after his clothing range. But I can tell you that, and I know you shouldn't be talking about people's clothes, but you know, sadly or not, people are very interested in what everyone is wearing, that sort of opulence. And is it appropriate at a time like this in South Africa when we are facing just one of the most horrific crises in our modern history? We are suffering really badly under load shedding. There's been marches throughout the day to demand an end to load shedding, some sort of compensation, and to dispute the increase in rates that is being tabled. As you probably know, it's not been held in Parliament this year for the second year. It's at the City Hall, still a very beautiful building, but not as convenient as Parliament, obviously. That follows the fire, the arsonist fire, and we were told a little bit earlier on by the Parliamentary Secretary that money has been released, 2 billion rand has been released in order to finish Parliament and get it up and running. Because what we are hearing as well is that it's very hard for the National Assembly to gather, to get together, to discuss policies, to pass the bills that need to be passed when everybody is sitting in different rooms. I'm just trying to see if we can get Alan Winde there, but he's still... here we go. We've got him. So everyone is arriving. They're all coming in buses, which I guess is not a bad start for South Africa. I assume in the past it would have been helicopters and Lear jets, but we're trying to show a little bit of sympathy, or the MPs are trying to show a bit of sympathy, I guess, tonight with the state of our economy. Alan Winde, Jane Dutton, hello. So, all in black, I believe.
Yes.
Let me guess.
Oh, it's a very sad day for our country, actually. And I'm hoping to hear some hope. Our country is pretty broken at the moment. If I had to have one choice, it would be what's the clear answer to get out of load shedding. And not that we're expecting up to 8,000 megawatts this year, because I hear 8,000 from the one committee, I hear 3,000 from the CEO. We need clarity, because clarity allows us to plan. I also think we should be making some bold decisions on energy. Give all good standing municipalities the ability to buy power from their citizens and small businesses. Just give it to them. Create a quick enabling environment for it to happen. We need decisive decisions. Load shedding is killing the economy. It is killing our soul as a nation. And if that was the one thing, if I could have two wishes, I really would want clarity on safety. I've been calling for devolution of power. We can't do the same thing over and over again, keep on every quarter having worse statistics in murder, in violent crime, in gender-based violence. We never see a turnaround strategy.
I mean,
That would be my call.
Becky Cele is, I believe, somewhere over here.
There he is.
What would you say to him?
Well, I'd say you should stand down and give it to somebody else who's actually prepared to try something different. I must say I'm having a very good conversation with the Premier of Gauteng, because he's also saying we need to do something else.
Yeah.
And so maybe we can find each other and start having at least a debate in South Africa to say the system at the moment doesn't work, let's fix it.
I mean, you showing baby steps here how it can be done. If you want to turn your attention to it, if you really want to get it done, you can fill in the potholes and release some sort of energy. So it is capable. It is easy to do if you apply your mind, right, and cut the red tape.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's interesting. The President announced a year ago that we're going to set up this red tape unit at a national level. Now, I've had one going for, 7 years now in this province. And I actually got a letter today, 1 year later, to say, can we engage on the red tape unit? Oh, come on.
Cut the red tape to get to the red tape. Okay, so in black today, obviously in protest of the red carpet, the opulence, what else? And the fact that you say it's a day of mourning, but what are you hoping? What point are you trying to make?
We always believe in data and evidence, and we've just gone into our own workshop as a province on this year ahead, and so we always do polls. And I did a poll, and our team came back with a poll, and obviously generally crime and jobs, employment, unemployment, those are the things that surface. Quite amazingly, the load shedding is like not 20% of all recipients, it's 84% of all recipients. It's just off the charts. And it is killing businesses, killing jobs. And so, of course, black. I mean, everybody's in darkness at the moment. We're all in the doldrums. I mean, we thought we'd be recovering after a pandemic, and now suddenly we're sort of right back in the middle of it. I think people just are losing hope.
And a lot of people are saying that there's a chance that the ANC won't be around after the next elections. What message do you give to people about coalitions, considering what we've seen? That's not a pretty picture.
Listen, I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, coalitions are not easy. We've learned that. I see it in our province. We've got a number of municipalities who are coalitions. They are not easy. They sit at the bottom of the pecking order when it comes to good governance, payment of receipts, really managing, the systems, because everybody focuses inwards instead of outwards. But I do want to say to the citizens of South Africa, you've got the power in your hands. Citizens can make the choice, and sure, we live in this new democracy, but we're 30 years old now. It's time to start thinking not about sentimental things, it's about talking about the bottom line and make your choices based on the
I'm
bottom
going to
line.
let you go because I'm going to put your comment to Becky Cele. Thank you very much, Alan Willard. Thank you. Hello, Mr. How are you?
And then I'm asking you, how are you?
And you see, I'm sweltering in this heat. So Alan, when he was just saying, I said, what would the message to you be? And he said he thinks that you should step down and make way for somebody else. What's your response to
You
that?
see that door? Mm-hmm. The man that takes that decision will be in that door. Ask that man. Okay, when he comes.
He's on his way. Right, what are you expecting from this evening?
Well, I don't want to preempt the president, but having been part of the cabinet and these discussions and all, because most of the time State of the Nation is read on behalf of the cabinet, indeed crime will be part of the things that the president will speak about and giving some further direction how to do. Remember, last year he instructed that we get an extra 10,000 police. They have been trained for previous year, and they were released in December 15, those 10,000. We hope to get another number, because part of policing is the visibility of police. In the year 2010, we had about 196,000 police with 50 million South Africans. Today we have 176,000, 20,000 down with 63 million South Africans. So if we get those numbers, the visibility and better populated police stations, and building more police stations will help us in better training of the police going forward.
All right. Okay, I believe that I have to let you go, so thank you very much for talking to us, and I hope you get what you want from the policing and security services. Becky Cele, I think we got off light there. There's John Steenhuisen. We spoke to him a little bit earlier on, but he's also bedecked in black, so we can find out a little bit more about what his thinking is going forward. So interesting what Becky Cele said, that the only person who can take that decision about where he's going to end up will obviously be the president. There's been a lot of talk of cabinet reshuffles, and people are saying that if there is anything, it's going to be cabinet light. There's also the question mark about whether he feels emboldened now that the top 7 are predominantly in his favour. Will he be able to make the decisions needed for South Africa? Will he be able to get rid of those who are not functioning in his cabinet? Will he be able to put together a super cabinet, a cabinet B, a super presidency, people who know what they are doing to take us into a much happier space in this country? We are in the grip of a load-shedding crisis. There's been demonstrations on the streets throughout the day today. I'm just going to step back and you can just get a picture of what it's looking like as politicians, guests all walk in. A lot of South Africans were complaining about the red carpet and saying, is it appropriate in this day and age to have something like this where people are walking around in their finest? Let's speak to Lendile Susu. Okay, let's go get her. Okay, well, while we're waiting, again, you can just have a look at some of the pictures. We are estimating thousands of people to come this evening. When the president arrives, there is going to be the 21 gun salute, all those sort of formalities that have been around for many years, and post-apartheid and the first democratic elections. There's at least 8 million rand has been spent on this, and apparently it's been portioned off over 10 days, so that's how the Secretary of Parliament justified spending that sort of money for me, because obviously, again, people are very sensitive about what their money is being spent on.
Around the table and check to be able to address the 110 other countries will be interested and have been able
Expectations are this evening?
It's a very important state of the nation, because next year we go to elections. So we've got to prepare the people for the fact that we want them to know that we may not have done with the, we may not have given them the best service possible because of shortages in certain vital services, but we remain extremely committed to make sure that we can overcome it. Every developing country goes over a hump and a ditch, and we've just been through a ditch. We will come out again because our resolve to make people's lives better is there. That's why we fought so hard all these years. Most of us spend our lives fighting for this country. Why would we do anything different than try to prove that the struggle was worth waging by providing the necessary services? We've just gone into a dip now, and we hope our people will understand.
I think it's fair to say you've probably been through a few bumps and dips in the last year or so. Where does this leave you and your commitment to working with the president, and how would you take your position?
Let me tell you, I was born in the ANC, I'll die in the ANC. I'm serving the ANC, and anybody who comes in between is in between. I'm here as an ANC member, and I'll die for the ANC.
Would you fight to stay on the cabinet? Do you believe that your position is there?
No. Actually, this is the misinterpretation of the media. No. Cabinet is a place to serve as in the executive. It is no different from me serving as I was when I was in the army or when I was in exile. Nobody was there watching what I was doing, and I was doing my damnedest to make sure that we can overthrow apartheid. The spotlight is now on what we're doing now and whether or not this perk is better than that. No, I'm ready for any deployment anywhere, at home, in the field, whatever. I'm very ready. I am very fulfilled. My life has been about the ANC, and nobody can take that away from me.
And what about Phala Phala? Where to from here? We still have investigations ongoing. Where does this leave the president? What should he be doing?
You know, if you take the kind of outrage over the 1 billion rands and take the outrage over the so many other billions of rands that we haven't counted, I get kind of worried about what do our people actually, what is their conscience, what triggers them? Because with the matter that you're asking about in Phala Phala, it really was swept under the carpet. It's disappeared. But other things that are not so vital are the ones that are showing prominence out there. But we soldier on because, of course, each one of us will have a dip and rise and a dip and a rise.
And very quickly, you talk about the sensitivity of the people. I mean, that billion, do you think it was a mistake?
No, absolutely not. I'm not in a position to discuss a bid because it involves other people. That's why the glitch has been, if there is a negotiation going on, I can't be coming out here to talk about it. But what I want to indicate is that we've seen from other countries that tourism drives the economy and how tourism drives the economy. I was so thrilled to hear the president saying that the Namibian economy is driven by tourism, and I thought, wow, finally tourism is recognized. It is, and money spinner.
Okay.
It really is.
Excuse me. I've been called. Yes, thank you very good to talk to you, Minister. Thank you very much. Naledi Pando. Hello. Sorry, it's a bit bump and grind, isn't it?
Address the problem that our country is confronted with.
I mean, and I'm sure you've also felt it as well. There's a different vibe to this year, right? I mean, people are as Kisweta said, khatfol. They've had enough. Do you think the president's going to be sensitive to this in his tone? Does he understand the impact of some of his policies, how ineffective some of his people have been in leading to the crisis that we are in today?
Well, I've never felt that the president is not on the ground and doesn't understand how the people feel, because he is a president who is very connected to constituencies. So I'm sure he's aware of how the public are feeling, and this is why he's convened a series of meetings and is trying to find a solution. I also think that it is important that we do recognize that efforts are being made. I think sometimes the way we talk is like nothing at all is being done, and I think to a great degree, while I don't wish in any way to undermine the level of crisis there is around energy, the manner in which we're depicting the country as a total fallout and failure is really a problem for me, particularly given the international context and what one sees in other countries. So I do believe that South Africa has the capacity to address the problems that we're confronted with, and I think innovative solutions will be implemented by the government. I'm really looking forward to a much more modern energy mix, and I think that's what the crisis is going to give rise to.
And we also need to deal with our international relations, don't we? I mean, we seem to be giving mixed messages when it comes to crises abroad, doesn't it?
Again, that's your perception. Because, when you hold a view and I do not reflect it, then you reflect it as a confused foreign policy. But it's because I'm not following your perspective, which has been my complaint about how we assess positions that countries adopt. Countries adopt their foreign policy on the basis of a range of factors. And so to imagine that a particular perspective that we put forward, which doesn't accord with your own or others of your colleagues, renders us somewhat inadequate in terms of foreign policy really is,
Tell us about a cabinet reshuffle and expectations there.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not a president. The Constitution doesn't give me a role in this matter.
Well, what would you like to see? What do you think needs to be done?
Waiting. We will wait. I don't normally go around, predicting things. I'm not a soothsayer by any means. So we'll await.
And how do you feel about the way the conference, ANC's 55th conference, played out? The NEC, the people who are surrounding themselves.
Well, the ANC is a membership-based organization. Members have a democratic right to make their choices, and now the NEC must step up. There are huge problems confronting the country. They've got to make sure that the proper actions are taken, that appropriate policy steps and programs are adopted. They must monitor the government, but also allow the government the space to do what it should do.
Very good to talk to you. Thank you very much. No. All right, we're waiting for Fikile Mbalula, the former Transport Minister, now Secretary General. When we saw him being nominated at the ANC conference, he was saying how he's going to be stopping his late night tweets, so it'll be interesting to see how successful he's been at and how he's managed to do that, whether he's had to hide it under the pillow or something like that. He's been very outspoken. We know how excited he is to have finally been nominated into the position of the top 7. He's certainly somebody that has helped garner support for Cyril Ramaphosa. Okay, we are waiting for him now. Is he coming to us now? Yes, okay, right. I wasn't quite sure on our instructions, but as you can see, there's a bit of a bun fight to try and get the players here this evening as everybody's been streaming in. I mean, we're expecting at this stage for the President to make his SONA address at 7 o'clock, but that recently hasn't happened because there have been demonstrations normally elicited by the EFF, and we've seen rather rough play by the security forces. I wasn't able to establish what the rules are of play today when it comes to any sort of disturbance when the President is making his Jane Dutton.
Just 1 minute, we're left with 3 minutes.
Absolutely, yes, I've only got a minute with you. Right, what's going to happen this evening? What are your expectations? Go for it. Talk to me as quickly as you tweet.
We have given, we have gone to our Khutla. We have a January 8 statement. Top of the agenda, local government must be fixed and will be fixed. Secondly, we must kill load shedding in the country, do away with it. That's what is important. Job creation, top of the agenda, economic growth, and ensure that we create jobs. Build partnerships with the private sector and sectoral partnership, intensify that with all means necessary to achieve the result of job creation. We see the economy is turning, and at the same time we have recouped some of the jobs that we have lost, but it's positive signs. The partnership and the compact will further give us an impetus in terms of job creation.
And filling the empty posts that need to be filled. Any idea who's going to be taking what?
That will happen in terms of the posts that have got to be filled at the right time. Top priority now is what is important for our people. And then filling of posts will follow. The top priority...
When will we know?
I think you will know in the shortest possible time. Within the month of February, because we will be concentrating on implementation going forward. We have prioritized what is in the interest of the people rather than starting with what should be the last, which is who occupies. What is important for the people of South Africa as we approach the state of the nation are those issues that I've actually mentioned.
Well, you've been called away. I hope that your President tells us what the country needs to hear. That's Fikile Mbalula. Right, I think we're going to leave it here because everyone's going in. The President is going to be there, the 21-gun salute, and then we're going to be live for the rest of the evening. We're going to be keeping an eye on the speech, and we'll tell you what he's spoken about and what he hasn't. Stay with us.